Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so the way that we were looking for this move primarily was the potential that we could still have this as a fourth wave. Now, we were saying that this could be potentially our third wave into this low here, and what we were looking for is this fourth wave to develop. And as long as we stay below this 1475, we need to be very careful of this idea that we could still see this as a fourth wave and could still look to see an additional push to the downside. 8 cents 03 to this 6 cents 65 would be the potential target area for something like this. Now, if this is the case, what we were saying is that within the structure, we need to be careful because there is a possibility this could just be corrective up. We were looking for this potential that we could still see a break to the downside directly from this point. Now, within this structure, what I would be looking for is 5 waves starting to develop. Now, what I'm doing here is just tracking the potential that as long as we stay below these two highs here, we could see price start to fall off. Now, if we do see price starting to break down towards this level here of this 0968, this could align with a direct sell-off in this case. The problem is that within this count, it is more likely, however, that we could potentially still see one more push to the upside here, looking to either challenge these lows or potentially looking at this move as a triangle. Now, within the triangle idea, what we were saying is that potentially we could have this as an A wave, this is a B wave, and effectively what we're then looking for was the potential that this was our C wave here, looking for a D wave and then an E wave to the upside. Now, we did come down to this 1075, which is 0.786 of this C wave over here. Now, what I was looking for was a bigger E wave to the upside, but because we haven't actually invalidated this triangle yet by crossing this 1027, it is still possible that this D wave could still be in play. Because the C wave is simple here, what we could see is that this move here could rather be something like a W, an X, and a Y, in which case this D wave could still either look to complete here, or alternatively, if you want to say that this is W, this could be X, this could be A, B, and C, and we still see a move down, but we cannot cross this low of this 1027. If we are looking at this in this way, in this D wave is either completed here, or alternatively, you're going to see one more low still higher than this area. Effectively, what we'd then be looking for would be 3 waves back to the upside for this E wave. Now, it is also possible that within this count, what we could argue is that we have something like this, where we get a truncation in this E wave. So we need to be careful of it. I am still looking for that possibility of a push to the upside here, potentially for this E wave. But if we fail to break back above these highs here, we need to be careful that this isn't something like a 1, 2, and then we start to see a breakdown directly from these levels. So need to be careful. This aligns still with that idea that this could be 1, 2, this could be 1, 2 here, and then we get another 1, 2 and start to break down as well. Effectively, the difference would be that this count would start from this point over. This count would start from this point over here. That would be the main difference, where we say that this E wave's completed here and we have a direct break to the downside. So still keeping an eye on this triangle idea. We could still potentially be within it. Just because we've lost this trend line doesn't really mean anything, because most commonly when we are joining the lines of the triangle, what we do is we join A and C and B and D. So it is still possible that we could see this developing something along these lines, where this is still within this triangle pattern here. Now, only by breaking below this B wave or above this A wave would we look to invalidate this idea. Now, if we are looking at that possibility of a breakdown from this point, as a triangle, what I would be saying is that we could potentially see this as 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Now, within this structure here, what we'd be saying is our invalidation point would be this 1128. As long as we stay below this, we need to be careful of this idea that this starts to break down in 5 waves. Now, if this does break down in 5 waves like this, what we need to be careful of is that this isn't within this yellow third wave over here, but effectively what I would be looking to see is how we react. If we get 5 waves down here and we see a bigger 3-wave move to the upside that fails to break back above this invalidation point, but pushes us back up into this level, this would then confirm to me rather that this is potentially a triangle into here, and we're looking for this as a 5-wave move to the downside, and then we're going to see that 5th wave looking to develop from this point. The thing that we also need to be aware of here is there is still that count where we could argue that we actually complete into this low and we could see a bullish move to the upside. So within the 4th wave idea, we could just see this as A, B, and C, in which case what we'd be looking for is something along these lines, where what we are saying is we're looking for a 5-wave structure to the upside. So what I'm looking for currently is the potential that we could see something along these lines like this. Now, if this is a wave 2 though over here, what this means is that this is quite large in comparison to this wave 1, so it is making it less likely. The other way we can look at this is that potentially this could actually be a W wave, and this is looking for an X wave. Now, if this is an X wave completed over here, what we could see is that this could actually be our A wave. We formed a B wave, and then we're going to see a C wave to the upside. Now, the target area for this would actually be 1-to-1 at the 1609, but I would be keeping an eye on this 0.618 area here towards this 1357, because this would align with coming back into the channel area that we have currently, and the target of this is 1-to-1 would be lower down here towards these highs. So we need to keep an eye on this. If this does develop where this is just a bigger ABC pattern in this way, effectively we could see a move up towards this 1236 area, which would be this 1354. If we're going to move up towards this 0.618, if we do see a move up higher here, then the next area of interest to me would be the idea of coming up into the 786 area here at this 1462. So this would be looking at this purely as a corrective move, where we could see this as a bigger ABC pattern developing. Now, within this structure, it is also possible that this could be looking to form an expanding flat that just hasn't completed yet. So the way we were looking at it in the previous video was saying that this was W, this was X, and we're looking for a 3-wave move to the downside here, looking for a Y wave. Now, we did come towards this 1-to-1 level here, and what I'm on the lookout for is that if we fail to actually push up here and we push down one more time, what we could have is that rather this is W, this is X, this is A, B, and C to the downside. So we need to be on the lookout that if we find support here in this area of this 1027 to this 948, and all we see is a 3-wave move down here, effectively what we could then see is that this could just be a bigger flat correction forming, where this is A, this becomes B, and then we still see this idea of the C wave playing to the upside, bringing us back into the channel. So until we actually start to confirm those ideas of that direct breakdown here, where we hit this area of the 0990, get a 4th and a 5th, then get another 4th and a 5th, or a bigger 2 and then a 3, we do have that potential that if we do see one more break to the downside here, this could still be A, B, and C, just as a bigger WXY pattern, looking to bring us back up into this channel one more time. So I'm going to be very cautious, with the moves to the downside. If it's only in 3 waves, then potentially we could see something like that play out. The alternate way we were talking about this, is that if this is looking to push to the upside directly here, what we could see is that we could have something along these lines where we're looking for a C wave to the upside. Now, within this idea, what we would be saying then is that potentially this is our wave 1 into this high here. This is an ABC for a W, this is an X, this is a Y. Now, if that is the case, what we'd then be looking for would be either another move up here as A, B, and C into this 1283, which would bring us back into these highs, which would be an interesting level. Or alternatively, what we'd be looking for would be the potential that this becomes 1, 2, 3, looking for this 1436 off of our current low. Invalidation of this developing as an impulse comes at this 1027. Now, what I want to say about this is, because it has dragged out so long here, the probabilities are already starting to dwindle on this idea. What we need to see is this low maintain here. If we see one more push to the downside here, I wouldn't really say that this is the most likely count anymore. What I would want to see here is price starting to form 5-wave structure to the upside. So either getting a 5-wave move up into this 1-to-1, or forming something like this, finding support above these lows again, and then forming a bigger 5-wave in this way, where we see a bigger 5-wave move pushing up towards that 1618 level. Now, the bullish way we were discussing this in the previous video is that we could be looking for a breakout. And what we were saying is that potentially we could count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into this high. So within the bullish count, the invalidation of continuation to the upside here in an impulse would be this 0901. And what we would be saying then is that, this move is either WXY and we're still within the wave 2. Or alternatively, what we would be looking for is that this is our wave 2. We got this as that 1-2 idea, and then we're looking for that idea of a 5-wave structure. But the key thing within this count is that we'd have to see a move up above this 2126. If we fail to achieve that 1618, we need to be very careful that this is just still not that 4th wave here. And, we just see a pushback up towards this 1475 area, and then we see that continuation breaking to the downside. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we have pretty much unchanged CPR lines here. This one is engulfing the previous one, which could mean that we start to see some choppy sideways action, but potentially when we get unchanged like this, it can also mean that we have potential for a break. Now, if we are looking at the current support zone that we have from our central lines, this is between this 11 cents and this 1080. If we lose this level, then potentially what we could see as targets for today would be this 1069. We have the previous day low here at this 1050. We also have this 1028, 1007, and this area here of this 0966 as possible downside targets. If, however, we do manage to hold this level, what we could see is price could actually move back to the upside here and look to target out the previous daily high. If we do manage to push back above that, targets that we have here is this 1131, we have this 1152, 1193, and this 1213 as possible upside targets for today. Now, moving over onto the weekly pivots, what we can see here is that we are currently below our central line. So this is not a good sign at the moment. What we want to do is get back above these if we are looking for that bullish potential. For as long as we remain below these, we need to be careful of that idea that we could start to reject to the downside here. If we do move back down here, potentially we could look to find support at this 1055 in our S1 line. We do also have targets for this week of this 1016 and this 963 as possible downside targets. If, however, we do look to flip this area into support and get back above it, what we could see is price could actually move towards this 1148. We have this 1202 and this 1241 as potential targets for this week. Now, if we flip this over onto the monthly, what we can see is that we have printed lower CPR lines and we are currently below these central lines as well, which is not ideally what we want to see if we're looking for that impulsive price action. Now, if we do fail to reclaim this level, what we could see is price could start to fall away down here towards this S1 line, which would be at this 0981. If we do look to find support here, then potentially we could see price get attracted back towards these CPR lines. But if we do fail to actually hold this level, other targets for this month is this area here of the 0866 and the 0702 as potential targets for this month. If we do see price move back to the upside here, we could potentially look to find resistance here at this 1121. We have this 1143 and this area here of this 1166. So this 1166 would be interesting because we'd be retesting some of these high areas here. If we do see price starting to break to the upside here, however, targets that we could be looking for is this 1260. We have this 1422. And we have this level here of this 1537 as possible upside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.